Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Grant Signorini, and if you don't know who I am, I talk all things personal finance. I, like many of you, work a 9 to 5 and I'm exploring many ways to increase my income, whether that's through investing in stocks and shares, property, sports cards, or whether that's reselling, so buying products and selling them on for a profit. And that's what I am talking about in this video, reselling. So it was something that I started after watching, I'm a big fan of Shaf Rasool. If you haven't seen his or explored his channel on YouTube, then I really do suggest that you do. He's a very successful businessman, an entrepreneur, an ex-Dragon's Den, and I personally really enjoy his content. So shout out to Shaf. Please head over and check out his content. If you're interested in investing or any kind of business matter, his content is definitely worth checking out. So it was him that inspired me, because he started talking about people making money by buying products on from John Pye auctions. So that's www.johnpyeauctions.co.uk, and then reselling those products on, whether that be on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, for a profit. So I thought, well, rather than just read about it, let's go and give it a go, put some money on the line and see how we got on. So I already invest in stocks and shares. I'm exploring, trying to get into property. I invest in soccer cards, but I wanted another way, another income stream. So I thought, well, let's give this a go. So in this video, I'm going to talk about my experience with investing on John Pye auctions. I've spent almost £1,000 buying products and reselling them on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, etc. So I'll talk about my experience. I'm going to talk about the mistakes I've made. I've made a number of them, some of them more costly than others, but I've also had some successes. So I'm going to talk about that experience, and hopefully you can learn something from it. So if you are looking at reselling on via a website like John Pye Auctions, then hopefully this video will make you a more successful buyer. For those of you not familiar with John Pye Auctions, it's basically a company in the United Kingdom that auctions off a huge variety of products. And I'm talking everything from sofas to iPhones to industrial equipment to AirPods, Xbox Ones, protein supplements, you name it, it's probably on their website being auctioned off. So with each product that's on the auction, you will see at least one photo and a very brief description of what the product is. Now, these products are being sold on the auction for a variety of reasons. Some of them are second-hand goods. Some of them are returns to a store, and the stores then sold them to, or put them to John Pye Auctions to auction off. But also you can get liquidated stock, so a company that's possibly gone out of business and they need to get rid of all their stock, and they do it through John Pye Auctions. So you do get a lot of products on there that are sealed and in their boxes, but there is a lot of products that are in the boxes, but the box has been opened. But there is a risk when you buy through John Pye Auctions, because it's an auction. Like most auctions, there is no returns, no guarantees, all those kind of things. So once you've bought it, if it arrives and it's damaged, and then there's no returns, and if the item's faulty, again, there's no returns and there's no guarantees with that item. There are a few auctions on John Pye that do give you a 6-month warranty with the product, but as you would expect, the product's prices are bid up so high that there's basically no margin on them. So that's where the risk lies. But you'd expect that's why there's an opportunity, because there is some risk. I mean, if there was no risk and they came with warranties, you knew the product was perfect, then you'd expect them to sell for the same price as you could get something in the retail store like John Lewis or B&Q or whatever, and then there would be no opportunity to make money. So there is a small amount of risk there. And when you are looking at the photos, make sure you look very closely to see if there's any damage, but also read the descriptions quite carefully as well, because it should tell you if there is any issues with the product. So for me, I bought a barbecue with a big dome lid, and there was a small dent on the lid, and if you looked very closely at the photos, you would have seen that, and I probably wouldn't have bought it for the price I paid. So there are lessons there, but that's where the risk is. When I initially started looking at products on John Pye Auctions, my eyes lit up. I thought I'd struck gold. There was really popular products such as iPhones, AirPods, Apple watches, all selling way below what you would see them for on eBay. I was looking at the bid prices, and I'm like, I'm going to make so much money on this website, it's not even funny. But then I started reading into the terms and conditions to really understand my costs, and realized that the saying that says there's no such thing as a free lunch was very much true. So there's 3 costs that you need to be aware of that are on top of the bid price that you've put in to win your item. So let's say that you've bid £100 for an item and you've won the auction, right? The first cost you need to be aware of is there's a 22% buyer's premium to pay to John Pye Auctions. So that's essentially, John Pye needs to make some money. They're a business at the end of the day. That's their cut. So it takes it from £100 up to £122. On top of that, you're going to pay 20% VAT, which is VAT, unless you're VAT registered, which for most of us we won't be. So it's 20% of £122, which if I just quickly get my calculator, which is somewhere close by. So your £122 now turns into £146.40. And then you've got to pay delivery, which is a charge that you pay to get the product from John Pye, wherever the auction's happening, to your house. And the way that John Pye Auctions do the delivery charges is not by weight or size of item. The delivery cost will depend on what the bid was. So for bids between £50 and £150, which for this item it is, the delivery charge is £11. So, well, £11 plus VAT on top of the £11. So it's so you plus 11 quid. Plus 20% of 11, so 0.2 times 11. So you're now up £159.60 for the item that you may have thought you were getting for £100. So you really need to be careful and understand your costs, or you could end up losing quite a lot of money. So know your costs. It's absolutely critical. So £159.60, even though the max bid was just £100. So with all my buying costs understood, what I started to do was trawl through all of the products that were for sale at particular auctions, and then go into eBay, and for each product I would go and check what the sold prices were, so I knew what kind of prices I would be getting for the product, and therefore I could work back from that to see how much I should be bidding, taking into account I wanted to make some profit too. So let's say, for example, there was an Xbox One controller for sale. It's in its box, it's new, and it's in its box. Then what I would do is I would go on eBay, and if you go into the search bar on eBay, I would type in Xbox One controller, and then on the left-hand side of the screen, if you're looking at it on a laptop or PC, you will see there's filter options on the left-hand side. So click on sold items and completed items, and then you can scroll through all the sold prices for that item in the past 3 months. So eBay, their sold prices only go back as far as 3 months. And then what I did is I put all those. You've got to make sure when you look at the item that's been sold that it is the same. Like, it's got to be for me, I wanted the same color, same condition. If it was, if it was in a box on John Pye, then I'm looking at ones that have sold in a box on eBay, because people tend to pay a bit of a premium for that. So I take a spreadsheet on Excel, but similarly you can just write them on a bit of paper, and I'd write down all the sold prices in the past 3 months for that item. Now, what some people might do is they might take what the average sold price is. So for example, if there was 5 of that product sold in the past 3 months, and you would total up all the sold prices and divide it by 5, you would get your average price. But I used the median sold price as opposed to the average, which is different. And the reason for that is when you take an average, if there's a small data set, maybe you've only got 5 sold prices, but one of those sold prices is either really high or really low compared to all the others, it will skew the data and will give you a sold price that doesn't really represent what you can expect. Whereas median, what you would do is if you had 5 sold prices, you would take all your sold prices and line them all up from smallest to biggest. So you'd have, let's say you'd have £20, and then next to you write £22, £24, £24, £30. You put them all in a line, and then you would go to the middle number in that list, and that's your median sold price. So that is a much better representation of sold prices. And if you go on my website, www.grantsignorini.com, I talk about how you do that and why it's important to do that. I use the median as opposed to the average. So I'll link to that article below so you can read that to get a better understanding of why that's a better way to understand sold prices. So with my buyer cost known, my seller cost known, and my sold prices known, I'm now almost in a position to figure out what my max bid should be. But before I can do this, I need to figure out how much profit am I willing to take on this product. So I think the best way to explain this is with an example. So let's say a barbecue consistently sells for £200 on eBay and postage costs £10. So my selling costs are as follows. eBay fee is 10% of 210 quid, and which is £21. My PayPal fee is 2.9% of £210 plus the 30p, which is £6.39. Packaging costs on this particular example are £0 because the barbecue comes in a box that's suitable for posting. So I'm talking about a real life example here. So the money that I'd receive from the buyer is £210 minus the £10, which is my cost to post the parcel, minus £21, which is the eBay fee, minus £6.39, which is a PayPal fee. So I'm left with £172.61. So with this information, I now need to decide, right, what is the least amount of money I'm willing to accept as payment for doing this? You know, what's my profit essentially? When you think, and when you're kind of deciding this, think about, well, I've got to take on the risk that this product that I receive is faulty, and I can't sell it, or I need to sell it even lower. I'm going to have it sitting around in the house until I get it sold. I'm going to have to get it delivered, so there's a bit of work to be done there. I'm going to have to list it in different places. There's work to be done there. So how much money am I willing to make to do all that work? So for me in this example, I think £50 is fair, and I'd be happy doing that work for 50 quid. So if I'm only receive, when I sell this item on eBay, I'm going to receive £172.61. I want to make 50 quid on the product. So the most I can pay the auction house for that product is £122.61. But remember, that's not going to be my max bid price because there's the costs associated. There's the John Pye buyer's premium, there's the 20% VAT, and there's the delivery cost. So I need to take all of that off of the £122.61 to figure out what my max bid should be. So to do that, apologies, I am looking at my screen here. It's a lot, and all this is on my website, www.grantsignorini.com. Links below to the article that has this exact example in it, so that you can go back and reference that. So to calculate the max bid, you take the above value of £122.61, divide it by 1.2, which is your VAT at 20%. Divide that number again by 1.22, which is your 22% buyer's premium, and then minus the delivery charge, which for this exact product is £11. So my max bid for that item is £72.75. So as you can see, if you don't know your costs inside out, there's a high chance you'll lose money, because you're seeing that product sell consistently on eBay for £210, but your max bid to make 50 quid is only £72.75. So it's so easy to make mistakes and end up paying too much for something, and then you've either got to sell it at a loss to get rid of it, or you're sitting on it a long time just hoping somebody pays premium for the product. Not where you want to be. So as you can see, knowing your costs inside out is so important, because if I didn't take my VAT or John Pye buyer's premium into account, I would have made, well, my profit would have been basically wiped out, because I was looking for 50 quid profit. Well, my buyer's premium and my VAT were 40 quid between the two of them. So if you didn't know those costs, your profits are pretty much wiped out and you're doing all that work for free. So what are my most useful lessons to date? Well, I'm going to start with this one, and this is critical. Ensure that market demand is high and supply is low. So as I talk to you right now, I've got 6, I think I've got 5 left actually, 5 tubs of this sitting in my living room because I can't get rid of them without taking a big loss. So let me explain. How do you ensure that market demand is high? What you do is if you go onto eBay and then you filter for all the sold listings on eBay in the last 3 months, if you see a high number of sold items on there, you know that market demand is pretty high. So if you look at Xbox One remote controllers, you will see a ton, I'm talking 30 plus, of that product is sold on eBay in the past 3 months. Whereas you look at this product here, I think it was 3. 3 of these tubs had sold on eBay in the past 3 months, and I bought 8. Terrible decision. But not only that, so market demand for this was low. What about the supply side? So on the supply side, it's simple again. You go on eBay, type in the product that you're looking to buy on John Pye Auctions, and look at how many of that product is being listed. So for this one here, I think it's over 20 people were selling this exact product, but only 3 had been sold in the past 3 months, and I bought 8. So that's why for this particular product, I've sold, of the 8 that I bought, I've sold 2 for an £8 loss per tub. Well, I bought them for 15 quid per tub. So you can see that my losses are pretty high when you compare it to the bought price. And for the other tub, I think I made a 50p loss. So I'm definitely not making money, and they're going to be sat around in that living room for a long time until I can get them flogged. So you want really strong market demand and you want really weak supply. If market demand is really weak and there's a lot of supply, then the only way to sell your item is to drastically undercut your competitors because it's the same product. So how else do you differentiate yourself from the competition? They're all selling this exact same product, same flavor, same brand, sealed. They've all probably got good seller ratings on eBay. They're all offering quick delivery. So the only way to beat them is to undercut them, and then you're making a loss. So that's lesson 1. So the second lesson is get the sold prices right. So when you're saying something's going to sell for X price, you better make sure that you get that price right. So I didn't. So I bought 8 of these Essentials pH meters. So they actually had really good demand on eBay, but they also had equally high supply. So there's a really good balance between supply and demand on these. So it's difficult to charge a premium. And I just got my sold price wrong. And I don't know, to this day, I don't know how I did that. But basically, of the 8 I bought, each unit for £35-36, I think. They're quite expensive. And I'm basically making £2.50. They're selling. I've only got 1 left of the 8. That's maybe a month's past now since I bought them all. But I'm only making £2.50 per unit, so not really worth the effort and not a great return on investment. So make sure you get your sold price right. So lesson number 3 is that buying and reselling is essentially a full-time job. So I naively thought, so I work a 9 to 5 and it's a pretty intense job. And I naively thought I could maybe make another £1,000 a month through buying and selling without too big an additional time input. But even making an extra few hundred quid a month has taken up quite a considerable amount of time, which takes away from relationships and my other personal goals, which are bigger than just making a few £100 extra a month. So if you think, so you can absolutely make more money by buying and reselling. You can make money doing this. That's undeniable. But if you think you can do it without spending time doing it and making that time investment, then you're wrong. You will have to work and put in time into it if you want to be successful at it. Like anything really that's worth doing. So something else I've learned is that the margins aren't as good as I thought they were going to be. So when I first started looking at prices that items had sold for on John Pye Auctions, I thought it was an absolute gold mine. I said before in this video, really popular items for sale on there, and I saw the sold prices and I'm like, wow, I'm going to make so much money. But that was really naive, because I guess, like I've said, you take your buyer's premium into account, 22%, your VAT, 20%, and straight away your margins, just eating right into your margins. But it was naive in me to think that, because when I consider through my time investing in stocks and shares, I've realized that the companies with really good margins, they're the ones that they're really difficult to copy their product or service. And therefore the barriers to entry to copy that product or service or make something similar are really high. And that's why they can charge a premium. So we think about companies like Nike, Apple, Microsoft, Google. These are companies with great margins. And the reason is it's so difficult to create something similar. Now with this and reselling on by buying on John Pye auctions, selling through eBay, let's think about what are those barriers. What do you need in place before you can do that? You need an internet. Well, almost everyone's got internet now. You need a smartphone or a laptop to be able to buy things on, go onto the website. You need to have some initial capital, but not much. And you need a willingness to do some work. And if you've got all four of those, you can do this. So then what happens is you've got more people bidding for the same number of products, and therefore the prices get bid up so high that the margins are really quite low. Now there are exceptions where some products have really good margins, but there's reasons for that, and again it comes down to the barriers to entry. So if we think about the iPhone that's selling John Pye doesn't have good margins at all. Now the reason for this again is the barriers to entry are low. Everyone knows what an iPhone is, so there's no risk you don't understand the product. So when you're scrolling through the auctions, it's an iPhone, I know what that is, I'll see if I can put a bid on that. Secondly, the storage spaces that you require to store the iPhone until it's sold are really small, so everyone can store it in their house or whatever. And it can be easily sold. eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree. So, the everyday person can sell an iPhone. So you get more people bidding on it, bids the prices up, margins go down. And remember, you make the money when you buy, not when you sell. If you pay too much at the start, then you got no chance of making money. So let's think about a product that really, from what I could see anyway, would probably have really high margins. And again, this makes sense. Let's think about it was a jackhammer, right? Now these are the things that you'll see construction men on the street using, or women using, to break up the road for construction work. So it's like one of those things. Now, the reason the margins are going to be so high on that is because, first of all, storage space. Who's got storage space to store these big jackhammers in their house? Not many people. So you could have some people store them in their shed or their garage. Cost, they probably aren't that expensive. So based on what I could see, most people could afford them. But to sell something like that, you really do need contacts in the industry. Or you need to put in a hell of a lot of work to get the contacts to then sell it to them. So there's a lot more risk on selling the product. So you're not going to have much competition on bids, and therefore the price doesn't get bid up the same as it would on an iPhone, and you can make some money. So there are areas that you can make money on, but like anything, it's going to require more work to be able to get it sold. But that's your reward for doing that extra work. Something else I learned is that you better be prepared for your house to look like a warehouse, or your living room in my case. So I've currently got 2 barbecues, 4 jumpers, a few tubs of this. Fortunately, only one of these left. I can't think if I've got anything else. Yeah, that's it. But for the past month, it's been products in and out of the living room, just sat there. So be prepared for your living room to look like a warehouse if you live in a smaller, apartment like myself. Final lesson is buy products that can be easily sold on Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace. Why? Well, quite simple. There's no seller fees to sell on those platforms. So I sold a barbecue. In fact, I sold 2 barbecues on Facebook Marketplace. Both of them were sold for £310, and I paid no fees to eBay on those sales, or no fees to PayPal. It was a cash transaction. So what did I save? So it was £310 sale, 310, so 31 quid to eBay, and 9 quid, 10 quid to PayPal. So we got 40 quid savings. So it's £40 that would have went to them, went in my bank account. So look for products that you think you could sell on those platforms. And that's not everything. You might think, well, you can sell anything on those platforms. Well, you can, but there's not a buyer for everything. So, really niche things are more likely to sell on eBay because you've got a much bigger market. But things like barbecues and that, iPhones, I'm sure, Xbox controllers, things like that, I'm sure you could sell on Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree. But when you're thinking about your seller costs, when you're trying to work out your max bid, assume the worst and assume you're going to have to sell it on eBay. So take that into account. It's just an absolute bonus if you can sell on Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace. So what next for me when it comes to trying to make an income over and above my 9 till 5? Well, I will no longer be buying stuff on John Pye auctions. Instead, I will be pursuing a drop shipping business, which is something I've never done before, and it'll be a new experience for me. Of course, I will be documenting that entire process on my YouTube channel, so please subscribe if you want to follow along. And of course, I will share the highs and the lows. So there's a few reasons that I've chosen this new strategy. When it comes to handling product, I stay in a 2-bedroom apartment and I just don't have the storage space for all these products that I've been buying. And at least with drop shipping, I never actually have to handle the product. The other thing is margins, the barriers to entry in terms of buying things on John Pye auction and reselling them are really low. So there's more people doing it, the margins are squeezed. So you're not getting as much profit for the same amount of work. Also the efficiency of it in terms of, to keep making money, you have to keep going into new auctions and there's new products that you need to go and research. And that all takes time, and same with the bidding with John Pye auctions. When it goes down into the last 3 minutes of bidding, any bids made increase the duration by another 3 minutes. So it can take an hour in itself, and I'm busy. I've got 9 till 5 to work, and I just don't have the time for that. So I think a dropshipping business is going to be a more efficient way of, a more effective way of me building an income stream over and above my 9 till 5. So thanks for watching this video. I really do hope you've learned something useful. It is one of my first videos on YouTube, so apologies for the quality. I will try to improve as I go along. So if you've got any comments, any feedback, please comment below, and I'll try and incorporate that into my content going forward. Shaf, I'd like to thank you for asking me to do this video. I really appreciate it, and we really do appreciate your content, and certainly for me, I've learned so much about business and entrepreneurship just by watching your content. It's brilliant, and your guests are absolutely superb. So thank you again. And thanks everyone again for watching this, and I'll see you again in the next video.